path to capture him. Manhunt Episode 4 delves deeper into the greater Confederate conspiracy to undermine the newly won United States, and pinpoints one man as a driving force behind not only Booth's assassination of Abraham Lincoln, but a greater body of Confederate insurgency. Anthony Boyle's John Wilkes Booth is an afterthought in Episode 4, as the developing cat-and-mouse game between him and Secretary of War Edwin Stanton is traded in for a tense face-off between Stanton and the man behind the Confederate curtain, George Sanders. While past episodes hinted at Sanders' involvement, Episode 4 paints him as the mastermind of the Confederate Secret Service. While the journey of Booth and his accomplice, David Harold, stalled in the forests of Maryland, Edwin Stanton's pursuit of Booth took a new turn. With Confederate Secret Service agent John Surratt, Jr. out of his grasp, Stanton believes that his best chance at finding Booth is to get information out of his financial backer, suspected Confederate agent George Sanders. The wealthy businessman is shown to have had a hand in a number of Confederate plots, and Episode 4 sees Stanton uncover one final plot from Sanders, bringing Manhunt one step closer to its endgame. Is John Wilkes Booth a pawn in the CSS's bigger mission? Booth may have pulled the trigger on Lincoln, but there is a larger game afoot. John Wilkes Booth holds up his gun by his face during Lincoln's assassination in Manhunt. Booth being somewhat dismissed in Episode 4 is an important reminder that while Edwin Stanton's pursuit of the assassin might be the central storyline, the intrigue of Manhunt is in the larger conspiracies at work on both sides of the American Civil War that led to the assassination. Manhunt Episode 3 explained how important Booth believed himself to be, but in reality he was more of a pawn than a hero. The remnants of the Confederacy had far grander designs in mind to restore their way of life, and Booth eliminating Lincoln was necessary to make that a reality. George Sanders' role in numerous Confederate plots explained. Sanders masterminded the Confederate insurgency as a whole. In Episode 3 and Episode 4 of Manhunt, George Sanders is shown to be one of the most influential men in both New York, the center of finance in the United States, and Montreal, the center of the Confederacy after the downfall of Richmond. So far, he's shown to have had a hand in moving Confederate leaders into and out of the United States, plotting a series of fires across Manhattan, and manipulating Wall Street to benefit Southern gold and damage the Union dollar. While Sanders' Confederate involvement is seemingly known, Stanton discovers that his wealth and influence has kept him from wearing handcuffs or standing in front of a judge. He even apparently has his hooks in the new president, Andrew Johnson, who awarded Sanders a major army contract to produce new summer uniforms. That leads Stanton to seek a one-on-one meeting with Sanders, as the contract ultimately is his to award. At the meeting, Stanton offers Sanders the contract and then some, no questions asked, in exchange for Booth's whereabouts. Sanders claims not to know, and a tense standoff that sees both men draw pistols unfolds before Sanders is arrested, and swiftly released thanks to some well-placed greenbacks. Sanders never explicitly acknowledges it in Manhunt Episode 4, but his conversation with Stanton strongly implies that Sanders was in fact the driving force behind Booth's assassination of Abraham Lincoln, and that it may have been spurred by Stanton's own attempt on the life of Confederate President Jefferson Davis. Why Wall Street backs the Confederacy? Despite sitting in New York, Wall Street had many reasons to favor the South. Wall Street traders sing a Confederate anthem in Manhunt. Part of the reason Sanders is so untouchable is that he has the backing of the rest of Wall Street. As evil as slavery was, it was unquestionably profitable for those invested in tobacco, textiles, sugar, and other commodities. The Manhunt Episode 4 scene in which Agent Lafayette Baker and his agents haul away a group of Confederate-leaning Wall Street traders, including Edwin Stanton's own father-in-law, proves just how large a role money played in the American Civil War. Sanders as a character is intended to represent this group, and why Confederate sympathy still ran deep in the Union states. Did Edwin Stanton really plot to have Jefferson Davis killed? Episode 4 provided a look into the origins of the scandalous Dahlgren affair. Manhunt Episode 4 revealed that it was widely believed that Edwin Stanton was responsible for an assassination plot on Jefferson Davis, the Confederate president, during the Civil War. The most significant scene involving Hamish Linklater's Abraham Lincoln in Episode 4 revolved around a discussion between Lincoln and Stanton about the quickest path to victory. It's Stanton who suggests removing Davis from power is the quickest way to end the war, and it's also Stanton who posits that the typical wartime rules of engagement surrounding presidents may not actually apply to Davis.